The Prayer Group Ministry. A story by Eby's Heart. Neka, Tatiana, and Sophia were colleagues working in the same office. They were young bankers doing averagely well for themselves, but they wanted more. They wanted to grow higher in the banking industry, and they also needed life partners. One day, while leaving the bank after closure, a man approached them and handed a flyer to them. The Prayer Group Ministry invites you to their 3-day program. Theme, Find a Husband for Me, was written on the flyer. The program was to start in 3 days' time, which was a Friday, and end on Sunday. Neka quickly threw it away and hissed, saying, "I don't attend this kind of program." Sophia picked it up and cautioned her that it was bad to throw away a prayer flyer like that. "Besides, the place is not that far, so I would like to attend," Sophia added. "I need a husband." "Don't you all need one? Since it's a weekend program, I will also join you," Tatiana said. "I hardly attend any other prayer program except my church's own, but I will join you people since I don't have any plans for the weekend." They all happily agreed and fixed the time and place where they would meet on that day. On the D-Day, they all left the office as early as they could, rushed home, and quickly assembled at the spot they had agreed to meet. When they got to the venue, it was already dark, but they saw some persons going into the prayer ministry's compound. A woman welcomed them with a hug and gave them a room to drop their belongings. Sophia was so happy to be there, so she quickly joined the others inside the prayer ground. But Neka, who was still skeptical, decided to look around first. So instead of going straight to the prayer ground like the others, she went to the back of their lodge and saw some women cooking and others washing. They eyed her immediately they saw her because she was putting on a jeans trouser. "You are not supposed to be here," the woman that had welcomed them, popularly known as Mother, tapped Neka on the back. Neka quickly apologized and turned to leave, but a lady bumped into her. Neka was about to apologize when the lady leaned forward and whispered in her ear, "Help me." Neka was opening her mouth to ask her what she meant when the lady joined the others. Neka turned around and noticed that all the ladies were in a straight line and walking into a duplex in the compound. Neka wanted to follow them, but the same woman stopped her again. "This way to the prayer ground. I think you are new." Neka smiled and followed her. She could not shake off the feeling that something was not right. Why did that lady ask for help? Or maybe I didn't hear her well, Neka continued thinking. "I will leave here first thing tomorrow morning. I never wanted to be here anyway," she thought to herself. As she was walking into the prayer ground, she saw a sign near the door saying, "Switch off your phone and put it in the box. This is a house of God, and phones are distractions." Neka snubbed the instruction and walked in, but a man walked up to her and asked her to drop the phone. She refused and said she would leave if he insisted. The man left her alone. A few minutes later, a very handsome man, dressed in a long white robe and wearing a large cross on his neck, walked in ringing a bell. Neka knew she couldn't stay anymore, but when she checked the time and saw it was 12 a.m., she decided to wait until daybreak before leaving. The man introduced himself as the simple man. "I am a perfect creation from God," the man began talking. He talked for some minutes, but Neka was busy pressing her phone and was not even paying attention. The man then started prophesying about untimely death for anyone still holding her phone. When Sophia heard that, she angrily collected Neka's phone and put it in the box. "I wouldn't want my friend to incur God's wrath," Sophia murmured. When Neka noticed that everyone was in a deep spiritual trance, she sneaked out. She wanted to look for the lady who had asked her for help. But when she came out, she heard a woman crying and pleading for her life. She tiptoed towards the voice and saw a small gate open. She walked in and heard the voice of a lady begging for her life. Neka walked closer and saw a pool filled with water. "What are they doing?" Neka murmured to herself. She saw the man push the lady into the water. The lady was crying and trying to run out of the water. Neka, who was wondering why the lady was so scared, heard a gate opening. She looked in the direction of the sound and saw a large crocodile rushing into the water. The crocodile jumped in and rushed at the crying lady. Necker didn't know when she screamed, "No!" The man and mother looked at each other and shouted, "Who is there?" Necker panicked and started running. She ran towards the gate but found it locked, so she hid behind a flower near the gate. The man ran out first and was looking around. "Did you see her?" Mother asked, breathing fast. "No, I didn't. I think whoever it was must have entered the prayer ground," the man said, frowning. "We must find her. It must be one of the new ladies who came for the program," Mother said while walking to the gate to check if it was locked. "The gate is locked. She must be around here," Mother said while walking into the prayer ground. She saw everyone in deep spiritual trance and walked out. "I cannot find that lady on jean trousers there. Maybe she is the one. She was the only one wearing trousers. Let's wait for the simple man to finish prayers, then we will go and check very well," Mother suggested and walked into the prayer ground to wait, while the man stayed outside. Necker, whose heart was pounding with fear, slowly picked a stone and threw it somewhere else. The noise made the man rush towards the sound, and she quickly removed her shoes and ran inside the lodge. She entered their room, quickly changed into a long flowing gown, tied her head, removed all her jewelry, cleaned off her makeup, and walked outside. The man stopped her immediately and said, "Where are you coming from? Why are you not inside the prayer ground?" Necker held her tummy and started crying. "My stomach hurts, so I was in the toilet all this while. I don't feel so good. That is why I am here. The simple man is God's own, and I want him to heal me," Necker said, while her head and entire body ached with fear. Just then, Mother walked outside and saw Necker speaking with the man. "Who are you, and why are you not inside the prayer ground?" Mother asked, while looking at Necker's face, trying to determine if she was the same lady she had seen earlier wearing jeans trousers, but she was confused. So, she advised Necker to sit at the front, very close to the simple man, to receive her healing faster. Necker, who knew they were still watching her when she entered the prayer ground, fell down in front of the altar and lay on the floor, praying to avoid being noticed. The simple man finished his ministration around 4 a.m., and everyone was asked to go to bed. What the ministry does is to lure successful working-class ladies in, rob them of all they had achieved, and either feed them to their crocodile so there would be no trace of them or make them serve the simple man as his property, for life. Necker walked to the box first to take her phone but found the box empty. All the phones were gone. She was too scared to react, so she followed everyone else back to their lodge. Immediately they got in, Sophia started singing praises to God. "Did you feel his prophecy? I felt like he was speaking directly to me. Oh God, thank you for bringing me here." She was still talking when Necker started crying. "We need to leave here now. We are not safe. We are in serious danger." Tatiana looked at her and smiled, saying, "You're joking, right?" "No, I'm not joking. We have to go at first light." "Let's get our phones," Necker said, cleaning her face and trying to stand up. Sophia stopped her and asked, "Does it mean you were not in the prayer ground all this while? Where did you go to? Didn't you hear the simple man's prophecy? We will be cursed if we touch our phones while in this holy prayer ground. So forget about phones. I'm only worried about my siblings calling me and getting worried. But they will be fine, because I didn't come here to joke," Sophia said and sat down. "I saw them push a lady into a pond and release a crocodile to eat her," Necker said, expecting shock or fear from her friends. But Sophia simply looked at her and said, "I will not allow you defame the simple man, his teachings, and this holy prayer ministry. I won't. If you don't want to stay, you can leave." Meanwhile, Mother, who had told the simple man what happened, was on her way to the lodge to bring Sophia to him. When Sophia got there, she couldn't stay still, as she was in awe of the simple man. She couldn't believe he wanted to speak with her. The simple man looked at her with his deep, sexy eyes and whispered, "I think your friend is possessed." Sophia smiled and asked, "Necker, right? She has been saying a lot of things against you and God. She is surely possessed." Sophia quickly told them all that Neca said she saw. So Mother heard everything and nodded her head. So as Simple Man and Sophia were talking, Mother and two other men were already on their way to the lodge to pick Neca up. When Mother got there, she didn't even knock. She walked in on Neca crying and trying to convince Tatiana that Sophia was definitely in danger and that they needed to save her. Mother smiled and told Neca to follow her. Neca refused and demanded that her phone be given to her and that she wanted to leave. But Mother looked at Tatiana and said, "The Simple Man saw a huge demon following your friend around, and he wants to perform a deliverance session on her now," Mother said, while ordering the two men behind her to take Neca by force. Neca started struggling and refusing to follow the men, but the woman bent over and whispered in her ear, saying, "You know I know what you saw. So don't make this more difficult if you want to leave here alive with your friends." Neca, upon hearing that, quietly followed them. Tatiana wanted to follow them, but Mother asked her to stay back in the room and pray for her friend. When Neca got to the Simple Man, she saw Sophia eating a lavish meal at a table, smiling. Sophia saw her and immediately looked away. She has been told by the Simple Man to look away when they bring Neca, because a very powerful demon was controlling her, and it might affect her too if she ever believed whatever Neca says. So Sophia even closed her eyes to avoid being influenced by the demonic Neca. Neca was taken into a dark room by Mother, and about two men started torturing her to tell them what she had seen. After denying for a while, she agreed to have seen something and told them what she had seen. They beat her more, demanding to know if she was alone. When she was done talking, they threw her into a very deep pit that was like a well and covered it with a lid. So Neca was inside the pit, in darkness. Meanwhile, 3 days passed and work resumed, but the three friends were nowhere to be found. They didn't come to work, and no one could reach their lines. Another 2 days passed, and still, no one had seen them. Neca's mother called their office to inquire about her daughter. She told the office that she has been trying to reach Neca over the phone for some days now and that her lines has been switched off. That was when their friends and relatives became convinced that something was wrong. They started asking questions and discovered that the girls had visited the prayer group ministry for a 3-day program. Meanwhile, the Simple Man, through his numerous spies, had heard that some persons were planning to come and raid his prayer premises with the police. So he manipulated Sophia and Tatiana to go and stop them. He convinced Sophia to fight for the kingdom of God and stop the invaders, who were the devil, from coming in. That same night, they brought Neca out of the pit. She had almost lost her mind due to isolation, hunger, and fear. They tortured and threatened her to remain calm, smile, and welcome the visitors they were expecting the following day. If not, they warned, she would be hunted down even if she left their ministry and killed. And her mother would join her. Neca, who had lost the spark and courage she had entered with, agreed. The next day, a small crowd gathered at the gate of the prayer ministry, banging on the gate and demanding for it to be opened. The Simple Man, who had convinced his followers that it was a privilege to see him, refused to go out. He sent Mother and the man always following her around instead. The crowd demanded to see Sophia, Neca, and Tatiana. Sophia ran out happily and called Tatiana. Her sister tried to hug her, but she stopped her halfway and said, "I have given my life fully to God and will live here from now on to do God's work." Tatiana also said the same thing. The crowd, who had come with so much anger and determination to save them, became tired. They didn't expect such reaction from the ladies. "Where is my daughter?" Neca's mother asked in a teary voice. Sophia smiled and replied, "Neca is in a prayer session and has also made up her mind like both of us." "I would like to see her," Neca's mother said, crying. Sophia started raising her voice, with Tatiana, asking everyone to leave them alone. Just then, the crowd heard a loud cry from inside the prayer ground. They pushed Sophia aside and ran inside to find out who it was. When they got to where the noise was coming from, they saw Neca kneeling on the floor, praying and crying. She was asked to pray and make everyone believe she had fully joined them, or her mother would be followed home. The thought of harming her mother frightened Neca so much, she had to conform. The crowd started leaving in disappointment. But Neca's mother refused to leave. She claimed she knew her daughter so well and could feel that something was wrong. Sophia's siblings left, they were disappointed in her. "You cannot stay here," Mother said to Neca's mother. "This place is for young people looking for purpose in life. You don't fit in here," Mother added, frowning. She whispered something in Neca's ears, and Neca suddenly started shouting at her mother to leave her alone. That single act, the way they made Neca behave, fully convinced her mother that Neca was in danger. Neca was the kind of daughter who had never raised her voice at her parents, so her mother could hear a cry for help beneath Neca's shouting. She decided to find a way into the prayer ground. She sent Neca's cousin sister, Eudoka, to start attending their prayers. This was because she has been told that the prayer ministry was only for young people, mostly women. On the first Sunday Eudoka came, she observed how some young women, dressed in long, shapeless white robes, were brought in. She noticed that some of them looked scared and confused, so she vowed to dress like them the following Sunday in order to follow them inside. Meanwhile, Sophia, Tatiana, and Neca were given their phones and asked to transfer their savings to God. "If you surrender all your worldly possessions to God, He will carry you in His arms for the rest of your life," the simple man had said. Sophia transferred the money from all her bank accounts, including her savings, into the simple man's account. "If you have any landed property, don't keep it. Surrender everything to God," the simple man urged them further. Sophia, who was an orphan, promised to bring the document of the only land her parents had left for her and her two younger siblings to the ministry. As the first child, she was in possession of the document. So the simple man sent her home with two of his trusted members to retrieve the documents. Tatiana promised to bring all the gold she has been saving to the prayer ministry. Tatiana, who was hardly in touch with her family, didn't have anyone worrying about her like the others. While Neca's mother was trying to save her, Sophia's two younger siblings were making social media videos, telling the world how their older sister left her job and life to join the simple man's prayer group. Neca's cousin, Eudoka, was stopped by the simple man's security men from going into the prayer ground when they found her snooping around. In 3 months' time, Sophia and Tatiana had been left penniless and treated like trash. As more rich and young women joined the simple man's ministry, Sophia and Tatiana were made to do demeaning chores and sleep with the simple man almost every night. They were constantly reminded that they were broke and useless. With time, Tatiana started resenting everything and everyone, while Sophia still idolized the simple man. She would always say that everything happening there was God's plan for her. Then one day, Tatiana summoned the courage to run away. She woke Sophia up at night and told her about her plans, asking her to prepare so they could both escape. Sophia refused and told her not to go back into the world, which was filled with evil people. But when Tatiana insisted, Sophia, who was so brainwashed, told Mother about Tatiana's plans. They asked Sophia to pretend to agree with her. On the night Tatiana was supposed to leave, Sophia carried her bag, pretending to be leaving with her. But when they got to the gate, Sophia rang the prayer time bell. Tatiana was shocked to see her doing that. Sophia also held Tatiana down until Mother and the other security men came out and caught her. But nothing prepared Sophia for what she saw next. They took Tatiana to the pool and pushed her in, while Sophia watched. A crocodile came out and devoured Tatiana in the presence of a numb and horrified Sophia. "This is her punishment for trying to betray God's perfect community," Mother said to the shocked Sophia. That was when Sophia had a mind shift. She realized she had lost her way. The simple man rewarded Sophia by calling her before everyone, saying, "This sister is the most trusted and devout member of our ministry. She has done everything to preserve God's name and the growth of our ministry. Therefore, I am putting her in charge of others. She will be assisting Mother to supervise and organize our day-to-day activities in this ministry." Everyone clapped for Sophia, who was smiling and crying. Since she now had access to almost everything, including phones, she managed to find Nneka's phone. She couldn't find her own phone. Maybe it was because Nneka had made a cash transfer to the ministry recently. So she stole the phone and took it to where Nneka was. Nneka has been in isolation and had refused to react because she didn't want them to harm her mother. I brought your phone to you. I need you to unlock it and call for help, Sophia whispered to Nneka with a trembling voice. Nneka wanted to raise her voice and shout at her to leave her alone because she doesn't trust Sophia anymore. But Sophia quickly covered her mouth and whispered again. They fed Tatiana to the crocodile. And we might be the next if we don't act fast. Nneka tried putting her phone on but found out that her password had been changed. She then told Sophia they could run away even without help. Sophia and Nneka began making plans on how to escape. They agreed to run away during the day when everyone would be at the prayer ground. Nneka was so happy and looking forward to it. She was glad her friend had finally come to her senses. On the day of the plan, Nneka waited for the prayer program to start. When it did, she and Sophia started running toward the gate. But the gate was locked. Nneka started climbing the fence to jump out. She was almost at the top of the wall when Mother ran out with the others. Mother was holding a knife. She ordered, Nneka, come down or I will use this knife on you. Nneka was surprised to see them. She knew they hardly left the prayer ground once the program started, and Sophia was the one assigned to watch the gate that afternoon. But when she turned to look at Sophia, she saw her smiling. Sophia had lied to Nneka that she was placed at the gate to watch it and that they could use the opportunity to run away. Nneka didn't know that her brainwashed friend was trying to increase her rank and recognition by giving her up. Sophia had realized that exposing others, especially her friends, could increase her chances of being with the spiritual man, and she would do anything to be with him. So, she had to drag Nneka into her fantasy. Nneka pretended to be coming down from the fence, but when she noticed that Mother had relaxed the knife, she quickly climbed up again and jumped. But before she jumped, Mother slashed her leg with the sharp knife she was holding. Nneka fell to the other side, screaming in pain. They all rushed and opened the gate to drag her back in. But when they ran outside, Nneka had vanished. She had used her last strength to run to the main road. They were pursuing her when she stopped a car. A young couple stopped to help her. But when she turned to point at the people pursuing her, she found out that they had gone back. The couple drove Nneka to the police station to lay a complaint, and then to the hospital. The police went to the Simple Man's ministry to investigate Nneka's complaint but found a different scene. They saw women happily praying and reading the Word of God. The Simple Man himself took them around the prayer ground to dispel the claims of having a crocodile in his compound. All the women there, including Sophia, told the police that Nneka was a mentally challenged person. Nneka's case was trashed for lack of evidence and supposed insanity. Nneka spent almost 2 weeks in the hospital, with her family, friends, and former colleagues by her side. They all believed her but could not prosecute the Simple Man due to lack of concrete evidence. When Tatiana's stepmother reached out to the police about her, the ministry claimed that Tatiana had left their prayer ministry months ago. Nneka started making social media videos to create awareness about religious cults and the effects of their brainwashing. But it didn't stop many people from falling victim. Nneka made everyone know how her mother fasted and prayed every day for her until she came out, and urged everyone to be prayerful. Sophia, after 1 year, gave birth to a son for the Simple Man. She became the new Mother General of the ministry, sending anyone who challenged them to their hidden crocodile. A brainwashed person is a very dangerous individual. Beware of religious cults. They are everywhere now, looking for gullible people to trap in their web. Sometimes, finding God by yourself is the best.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.